Welcome to Be My Valentine event. My name is Freddy Weaver, and this is my partner, Dr. Elsbeth Moit. We are the founders and directors of Tantra Nova Institute here in Chicago and around the world. We've been working with singles and couples, teaching them practices of intimacy and how to connect with your deepest desires and come true. So today we want to share some questions with you that ideally will assist you in continuing a happy, wonderful Valentine's Day.
And give you some answers from our experience around creating love and intimacy in our life as a couple for 20 years and in what we are sharing with our students around the world, as Freddie already mentioned.
So let's just jump right to it.
Yeah, let's just share a little bit more about ourselves, how we came to, be teaching together and even being here with you today at this Valentine's event.
Yeah. So Elsbeth and I met 20 years ago. Before that, my first introduction to these practices that we put together as a curriculum was when I was 13 years old. At the time, I was living in Hawaii with my dad, who was a practicing psychiatrist, and I was going through my puberty, spending a lot of time in the shower. My father took pity on me and gave me a book to read on how to integrate meditation and sex practices. So I started doing these practices. My girlfriend loved it. I loved it. My athletics improved. My academics improved. I went on to college on athletic scholarship. After college, I kept reading books on this subject and going to workshops and learning more about how to apply it in my relationships. I was in the software business for a long time in San Francisco. After about 15 years, I was pretty much just in it for the money, and I was not feeling so inspired about my life. So knowing what I knew about these practices and being present to my inspiration and living into that in my life, there was an opportunity in Chicago. I had never lived in Chicago, and so this company hired me and moved me here. That was 20 years ago. At the time, I was single, online looking for a Shakti, a female Tantra partner, and Elsbeth had her profile on a site. We were one of the early couples, online dating couples. And so we met, and it was this kismet. Immediately we had this baby. That was 20 years ago, and the baby was Tantra Nova. And as you know, we've been working on this and developing it for 20 years.
Yes, I didn't have a dad who gave me a book on sex and meditation practices. I wish I would have. But anyway, as you can tell by my accent, I didn't grow up in the United States. I was born and raised in Germany and came here in my late 20s and for postgraduate work in music. And from there, I got my doctorate in education a few years later and then went into management consulting. And I became very good at consulting, yet relationship was quite a concern of mine because I had this pattern of attracting unavailable men. And while that was exciting at times, most of the time I was alone. And after a while I got very despaired. So despaired that I could see how the trajectory was going to go if I didn't intervene, which meant I would leave this planet without having had lasting intimacy and love in my life. I did have intimacy and love in my life, but I was not able to sustain it. And that was really what, was in my way, that I couldn't see. I knew there was something, but what kept me from creating lasting intimacy and love?
And it's that we don't see that often keeps us stuck in a place.
Mm-hmm.
So these practices that we share are about seeing what we don't see, to then have a practice of being with all of that, to then move towards, with grace, ease, and flow, what we most deeply desire. So we're going to answer a few questions and share some ideas with you today.
Yeah, and so then for me, the big question, what to do, how to intervene. And that was the time when I delved into meditation and then studying Tantra. And what opened up for me was that I discovered that I did not trust men. It happened in a sacred healing ritual, Tantric healing ritual, where I was so open and where a memory came back about when I was 18 years old. It was with the first boyfriend, first love, and So it was so impactful, that opening, because at that time with the first boyfriend, I made the decision when this boyfriend left that men are never there for you when you need them. And that really trailed, throughout my whole life until that moment when I rediscovered it, could clear it, and then, replace distrust towards men with trust in myself, trust in men in general. And then 6 months later, Freddie came into my life. And that really leads us to the first question we are posing here. Do you want to say?
So, yeah, let's get right to it. What's the biggest obstacle that prevents you from finding the right partner?
So, just as I shared, what was eluding me, not, from having what I wanted in my life, was my own blind spot. Like that I was not able to sustain love and intimacy. I could see that, but I did not know what was behind it that kept it in place. That is what we call a blind spot. So it's like having, something in front of your eyes. You know there is something, but you don't know what it is. Unless I identify it and remove it, there is no chance that anything is going to change. And for me, the Tantric studies and the Tantric healing was that identifying and removing, so that I could fully drop back into trust. Because trust is, that is the foundation for relationship, for love, for having blissful, intimate, emotional sex. So without trusting, I cannot let go. I cannot experience blissful orgasm. Doesn't mean that I couldn't have a physical orgasm, but not a blissful orgasm, because that really has to do with letting go either into myself or vis-a-vis a partner.
And paying attention to the levels of trust. There's your analytical self that says this person I trust has the education that I think I want a partner, or the look or the smell, or the whatever personal acumen. But then there is the emotional, energetic trust, the sixth chakra, the intuitive listening. And that's what we want to keep cultivating and learning more about how to feel into and pay attention to and trust.
So, number one, uncovering the blind spot to what you want, or what's in the way of what you want in your life. So then we want to talk about what are the tantric secrets to dating.
Mm-hmm.
What is different about tantric dating?
Mm-hmm.
So
there is the heart, which Elsbeth will tell you a little bit about. And then one of the foundational pieces is the breath, being present to our breathing. This allows us to start to connect to that intuitive self, that energetic listening that I was mentioning earlier. The mind's going to keep going and the stories will keep going, but what won't happen is we'll begin to separate and have a little space between the thought and the total felt sense of the thought. The physical heart palpitations or the anxiety or the sweating that make that thing so real, we can start to step away from that. And from stepping away, we can start to move towards what it is we're deeply committed to creating more of in our life.
So in a little while, Freddy's going to guide us in a practice so that you can have a first-hand experience of what we are talking about. However, before we move into the practice, we just want to give a little further distinctions of what to listen for, what to focus on. So the heart center, that's the energetic center of love. And we all know that. Even a 5-year-old young girl or boy could say to their mother, "Oh, mommy, I love you so much," and touching their hands or putting their hands on their chest, because that is where they feel the love. They never heard about energy centers or vortices, leave alone chakras, but they know it because that is where they feel it. Just as we, say, oh, I had a thought, I had an intuition, and touch our forehead. So we are all aware that there are different places in our body, in our being, that resonates with different states of emotions, feelings, sensations. And so the heart is really the center. We often call it the reconciler because that is where we come together within ourselves, where our earthly being and our heavenly being, so to speak, come into one. They integrate here. So if I want to become one with myself and integrated, I want to connect with my heart. It's the most quickest way of connecting with myself. And then the other place is to the breath that Freddy spoke about. So before we go into the practice, why is this of relevance in dating? We often hear from, students, people who are calling us up, what do I need to do? I have a hard time finding a beloved, or I've been struggling with dating and it's not working, or I'm on the wrong dating site, or I just don't know what I want. I think I should be in a relationship, or I'm not clear. With all the uncertainties or not being clear about what's happening, or feeling so subjected to that it's not happening, wanting to give up or no, never gonna go there, it's really great to first connect with myself so that I can be with the beloved within myself. And then in my dating practice, I bring this to the other so that in any dating relationship or in meeting a new date, that I come from the heart versus, oh, I just want to be late, and not that there's anything wrong about wanting to be late. However, if that is the focal point, it's not connecting, and then people who date come back with dissatisfaction and say, oh, I just meet guys who want to have sex, or I thought I want this too, just sex, but it's not really what my whole being is longing for. So in the tantric dating is that you start coming from the heart, and then the breath will help you to integrate and connect.
Yeah, because we bring a lot into a relationship from the past. And oftentimes what we say or we think we want doesn't really resonate with what energetically we really require and would deeply really like. So to start listening, we can start creating from an additional listening, your analytical self and your energetic self. So this breath practice is something that will assist in cultivating that. So here we go. Just seated comfortably, or if you're laying down, great. If you're seated up, just get on top of your sit bones as erect as you can be comfortable. Your eyes can be open, closed, or soft focus. Place a hand on your belly. Beautiful. Now this breathing is through the nose, trachea, lungs, and extending the diaphragm and belly like a big balloon on your inhalation. So really try that. Feel the belly extend into the hand as you inhale. Really exaggerate and fill it up. That whole lower cavity, that whole body, lower torso. And then following the breath as you exhale, back up and out through your nose in your own pace, depth and rhythm. Okay, breathing in that fashion, here we go. Following with your awareness, your breath into your nose, trachea, lungs, extending into your diaphragm and belly like a big balloon on your inhalation. Following with your awareness, your breath back up and out through your nose in your own pace, depth, and rhythm. Letting your thoughts come, letting your thoughts go. Continue breathing in that fashion. I'll keep speaking. As thoughts come up, just allow them without putting a lot of attention or focus on them. Letting them be, letting them go. Stay connected to the breath. Nose, trachea, lungs extending into the diaphragm and belly like a big balloon on your inhalation. Exhaling back up and out through your nose in your own pace, depth, and rhythm. Letting go any conversations, interpretations, or meaning. For now, just breathing and being. Rise of your belly on your inhalation. Flattening of your belly on your exhalation through your nose in your own pace, depth, and rhythm.
And now being more connected with yourself, with your breath, being present to yourself. Place the other hand in the middle of your heart, between your breasts on your chest. And notice that with each inhalation, the chest rises into the hand and relaxes on the exhalation, the hand following the movement of the chest. And each time when you breathe in, opening the chest and opening your love into the hand and beyond. And on the exhalation, the breath relaxes. And notice the opening of your heart allows the opening of your love. This beautiful being that you are, and love is at the core of all of us. And to date, to connect with another, to bring a beloved into your life, or to enjoy a relationship of any kind. When the heart leads, fulfillment can arise. And just notice while you're breathing in and out with your one hand on the belly and the other hand on your heart center, how you're flowing with the breath like the ocean wave is coming and going. You are in your own flow, connected within, connected with your still place within where intimacy arises. And this is a beautiful way of preparing yourself when meeting up with someone else, getting to know someone, seeing a date for the first time. Prepare yourself by being connected with your heart and with your belly breath. That allows you to be grounded, to be listening from your heart center, and to be open. And then remove your hands and bring them back into your lap, and just come back by opening your eyes. Just notice how you feel. How are you feeling, Dylan?
Neutral, just really quiet and without a lot of cha-cha thoughts going on.
I feel very connected to my heart center. Like, wow, yeah, that's the leading energy, leading force. Did we have another question?
Yeah, how to be true to yourself in terms of what you really want.
Versus, thinking of what you should want or how you should be. So that is really something we encounter quite frequently, so that when singles come to us, either like, oh, I want to find a beloved and I've heard about Tantra that could help me in, developing some practices and being perhaps more connected with myself, or perhaps also find out what's in the way, what we addressed earlier, like where's my blind spot. And then they start working with us. And some of the singles who work with us, they come to the place where they discovered, actually, I'm not ready for a partner. It's not really what I want at this time. What I truly want is being connected in love with myself. So there was a desire for that love feeling, but they thought it was to be gotten outside, while through the tantric work with us, they rediscovered that love connection within.
Yeah, or designing your relationship with a partner the way you most deeply see it, and really negotiating, agreements. And so there's a lot of ways you can approach it. It's just being honest and seeing possibility.
Yeah, you even recommend to have agreements in the dating relationship, not
Exactly. Yeah, you can
once
do
we
that.
decide to be together as a couple.
Right, right. Particularly in the dating, at the beginning, it's really great to be really clear about your agreements. If you like each other, you decide to be in a relationship, that you're going to be together maybe overnight 2 times a week, maybe one time at your house and then the other person's house. That you'll see dinner a few times a week, so that you're real clear and there's no expectation. Oh, I didn't see her, or I didn't see him only twice. Does he still love me, or what's going on? You can be real clear, and then you can renegotiate it. So put a timeline on it. So for 3 weeks or a month, we're going to do it this way, and at the end of that, we'll see what worked and what doesn't. And it's a way to really wade into the relationship.
Right, and even before that, because that already implies that we have some, you know,
Something going on.
right, that, in the beginning, just to, like, what practices do we want to have? What communication practices? That we are open about this with each other, because that happens a lot. And I remember in my own life, I was not clear with what I wanted, or I was not clear with my date or dates. So there are, as Freddie called it earlier, expectations that are totally unspoken. And when they are not fulfilled, then suffering settles in. So, like, even, okay, I really welcome, to that we have a phone call every other day in getting to know each other. And then that the other one speaks their truth. No, actually, I don't want that. I'm not there yet. Then I know, perhaps he's not ready at the level I'm ready. So we can save a lot of headaches, so to speak, love headaches, if we are clear. And then I want to say something, the speaking truth to myself, to really get clear what my truth is. Versus thinking what I want. But when I go deeper, and as I said this earlier, with some of the singles who come here, that they've really come to their inner truth. And when they find their inner truth, they can create their love either with the beloved within, or in dating relationships, or getting very clear, like, laser beam clear what they want. Like for me, when before I met you, I was in that place that I really wanted to bring a beloved into my life, and I had all done this tantric clearing and healing and dropped into my trust place, and really had that unavailability pattern disappear, because that disappeared with starting to trust. Because I became available, and that I got very clear that I for example, wanted to bring someone in who already was either very interested in studying Tantra or already practicing Tantra. And then what happened? Freddie, responded to my ad on the Tantric site. And then within a couple of emails, while we, shared a little bit more who we are and more specifics about ourselves and what we are about, he wrote to me that he had grown up in a tantric household.
Lies, all lies.
Oh, no.
So reel her in.
No, actually, I tested it because I got to meet his dad, and so his dad practiced these tantric meditations with his wife, and then he taught or gave Freddie the book. So I wished for inviting a partner who would be interested in or practicing Tantra, and I got so much more, someone who had been practicing this since he was a teenager. I didn't even know that this existed, a tantric household. But anyway, just for you to look at, what you want and be clear. Are you ready for the beloved to come in? Or are you ready to meet the beloved within? Or are you opening up to explore and date and have open relationships?
It's all good if you choose it. It's whatever you want. Be honest with yourself.
Yes.
Let it flow in.
So we thought we, would not leave here without giving you a gift. And a gift that builds actually on the practice we just did a moment ago, where you get to connect your heart with your belly, with your creation and sexual center, because that is from which creative energy emanates. And this is a meditation practice that allows you to use the strength, the power of your creative energy that is sexual in nature to fuel your heart energy, so that what you want to bring into your life can be imbued and spread into the world, so to speak. So the link for that gift is on the summit page where we have our details. And there's also another link that we want to invite you to, which is our introductory workshop. So if you like to go further and get a taste of what it all entails, we do a 2-hour introductory workshop once a month. It's called Secrets to Lasting Intimacy. And this link where it says offer will take you right to it. And you can see the dates there. You can come by yourself with a friend. So anything else?
Just keep loving your life, and wherever there's resistance, keep flattening. When I say flattening, keep letting it go, and keep listening to what you most deeply desire and confronting whatever keeps that from happening. So enjoy your life.
And breathe into it, because that opens the space.
Own it all.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you, hon. Bye.
Great
Happy
conversation
Valentine's
together.
Day.